Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today, since there's no bingo board mission to clear Inferno 1, I'm kind of holding off on this, and we're also not going to go into Inferno 1. We're going to go into Dire 2 difficulty, which is the most HP I've ever seen on an enemy. The orc has 402 million HP. And obviously, if the teams I show can do it in Dire 2, it can do all the other difficulties as well. But it's going to be very, very highly specific teams. These are not meant for new or even middle game players. This is end game. I have like either the full meta and very good gear, or I have like the one or two alternates that have a little bit of wiggle room but not much. So just keep that in mind. If you're just checking this out just to see what the full capacity of a good team is, then have at it. And if you came into here looking for a good team but you don't have these options, you're probably going to be in a bit of a rough spot. But there are some missions attached to it. There's clearing it 3 times with everyone alive, which could be difficult for people. 2 flashback characters, and then all magic units. So, obviously you don't have to do these all at once, you can do them in 2 different runs, plus the 3rd one, but let's go ahead and just jump in with the first team. Alright, so the team that cleared it before we got Ryu was not the Hestia team, but the Elmesia team that we did with the 2 billion damage. So obviously, if Ice is doing 2 billion damage without Hestia and without Ryu, then you don't need Hestia or brand new Ryu to do it. You just need Elmesia, 3rd Anniversary Protector, Bell, Shuna, Ice, Geld. And Geld is really going to be the linchpin, because that's going to give you another unit who can orb change alongside Sokka, who is going to be stacking. This is like the 2 free-to-play characters, because we've got Sokka and Geld. We're going to go a bit faster because these are long clips. I only have 2 videos for you today. I'm working on another clip, but it's taking a while because it's not a 8-turn team, so I might make that its own video. But I'm trying to work with something else, just in case you don't have some of these options, or at least the big-time options. Obviously, Shuna is free, quote-unquote. It is using Elmesia. I'm trying to nuke with Milim, Exalted Champion Milim. She's just not as strong, though. And it's kind of a rough go. It's going to take a bit more time. But as long as we can get stacks of Geld and get full hands of greens and we can reset everyone, and you can get probably about 6 stacks of Geld, you're going to be looking pretty good on skill points throughout most of the fight. And then you'll be stacking primarily with the Ice ability. Secondary is the Bell Pierce, and then third, if you want to get a few of them in, you could use Sokka's Magic and Pierce Resistance down stack. But the most important thing is sending a full hand of greens and an ult or something here and there, and making sure you get maximum points, and you can reset the main skills with Elmesia every turn. Now, once you get past turn 8, it becomes much more difficult, because he has a 40 point or less skill seal, you're locked in, you can't use your protector for a couple of turns, so it's definitely punishing if you do not make it to, like, if you do not nuke him down on turn 8. It becomes very, very difficult. It's still possible, but you increase your difficulty level by a literal fuck ton. So it's not exactly the most fun thing in the world to do. But here we are, we're stacking mostly with the Ice skill. Wind Attack and Weakness Strike is a lot more powerful at 30% each, so we're getting like a 60% versus Bell's 25% Pierce power. So always prioritize the Ice buff instead. Now, if you're going to run this team and you are trying to bring Milim, which is pretty much what I tried to do, is it's this team, but instead of Ice, you bring Exalted Champion Milim. She's not strong enough to nuke on turn 8. She does about 70 million damage or something like that, which this orc, even on Dire 1, has 300 million HP, so you have a lot left over. And because of the barriers, you can't really nuke early, and because you don't have access to the Pierce power with Bell until at minimum turn 8, you are missing a lot of damage. So that is going to be a long form team, and I think I have to take Sokka out for someone else because Milim actually died on turn 15 or something. So I will attempt to work on that. It probably won't go out this week. or even next week, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna have to work on it. But we're on turn 4. We are just continuing to send 6 orbs of greens, using Belle's ability every single turn because it's just a free stack for getting ice buffed up. You don't have to use it every turn. But turn 4, you want to make sure that you have Belle, Shuna, and ice up front because those are the buffs you really, really, really want to use here. Because you want to alt swap away, you want to get the stacks from Ice, you want to get the stacks from Belle, you want the multi-skill from Shuna. It's important that these are your front 3 characters on turn 4 and the end of turn 4, because you're going to get locked in, and this makes things the most easy for you to navigate turn 4. Once you're done here, though, you could, instead of leaving Ice up front and getting a butt ton of stacks with her, you could bring Geld in for a turn or 2, and then try and spam his skill point ability, just to make sure you have a lot of skill points, like the full 450 on turn 8. That way you can use the big time ice buff, and then you could use as many stacks of her and Belle as possible, and then you go ahead and nuke. So we're coming up turn 6 here. We still have half of the clip to go, funnily enough. Once you get to a lot of points, you're using a lot of skills over and over and over and over and over again. And that's what makes Divine General such a rough team to use, is because they have the Raphael stacks. He has the Gazel orb change, but the Gazel change is just 1 orb. It's not 2, and it's not alt swapping. It's just a single orb change. And you have to click that 10,000 times, because a lot of these turns that we've been having have not been perfect green hands. We've had to convert a couple of different things. So here we've swapped Ice out because I want to get a few more stacks of the weakness strike and skill points. So we actually shouldn't have converted with Geld there. We should have used Soka's convert, but oh well. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 skills. Boom, 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 boom. A lot of skill points now on these green orbs, and we can do it one more time. And then I think we're up to like 400% on the greens. So we're getting, a lot of points. Maybe 350%, but we're getting like 396 points back on a single 6 send of greens. And we still have one more turn to go, turn 7. So we're looking fairly good. We could either use Geld again, there we go, and then we can bring Ice in, and then we can reset her, and we could take Soka out, or we could use her buff as well. Like, it's only 15 points. I probably should have used it at least once there, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to do way too much damage for this orc. Like, we're going to do double his health bar. But let's use just about every single skill on this team, and then we will start stacking again, because everything is now much cheaper. So again, prioritizing the ice ability more than anything, 30% wind, 30% weakness strike, and then once that becomes a bit expensive, then we switch over to the Belle skill. Because it is still a good skill, it's just not double buffing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 450 points maximum, so we have to use just one big time skill, and that's the ice ability. And we could have used that even like a turn ago, and we would still have it active. But now we're doing 4.6 million damage under 200% orb. That's a lot. That's a lot. So multi-skill, we can get Shuna. We could actually leave her, or we could take her out, doesn't really matter. But let's bring Soka in, use her buff, and then we could start using Elmesia to really, really knock the damage out. Which is actually unnecessary. We could have just not done anything except use the Belle and Ice skill and done nothing else, and we would have been okay. We don't need all this excess damage that we're going to put on, but it's kind of fun, because we like big mommy damage, right? So, ice buff, ice buff, ice buff, and then a Belle buff, and maybe a Soka buff here and there. And we have, how many points left over? 93? Yeah, so another Belle skill and one more stack of Soka, and then we're going to send it. We'll send Belle first to get a little bit extra weakness strike and alt damage, and Ice does 1.8 billion damage. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Did we need to do all those stacks on turn 8? God, no. He only has 400 something, 4.5, like 460 million HP. We did 1.8 billion. We didn't need to go that hard, but it's funny when we do. So obviously that team will do damage cap if we took Sokka out for someone else, but that will definitely work, and that does get us our 2 free-to-play character mission because of Geld and Sokka. Alright, and the second team obviously is the full meta, so Hestia, Bell, Shuna, Sokka, Ice, and now Ryu. So, obviously this is the full meta, it can do it, but hilariously enough it's not doing 1.8 billion, or 2.14 billion damage by any means, but it is going to do a lot of damage regardless, even though Ryu is heavily nerfed with that massive AoE debuff. Still doesn't matter, because with her wind plus damage and her attack buff, it means that Ice is doing a lot of damage with a lot less stacks, because this team is just not hardcore stacking like the Elmesia team is. We have a finite amount of points, we have no way to reset those costs. We are going to use Ryu's instant damage ability, just because it is another zero-cost skill, and it does help stack Hestia and Ice's buffs a little bit faster. But as long as she is up front, we're going to get the instant damage, we're going to get the heal, and we're going to get the 50% skill point increase that we were using Geld for. And so for this, I want to just leave her up front for a couple of turns. Like 4 or 5 turns. We're going to have her here for the bind turn, and that means we can really, really benefit out of having her passive ability kick in and giving us those extra skill points without actually having to do much with her. Like, she's actually not doing friggin' anything right here. We are going to swap out Shuna for Sokka, and then we could maybe bring Ice in if we wanted to. You don't really have to. That magic buff and Pierce down that we're doing with Sokka doesn't really help anyone except Ryu here. I mean, the Pierce debuff does help Ice when we actually get to her nuke, but it's not the most important thing, because we're not putting the magic stack on her. So we're kind of doubling up on the magic damage, or the magic attack, because Sokka's stacking it, and then Ryu is stacking it passively. So instant, boom, there's the heal, the magic stack. So it's like, we don't really need to do it, but oh well. So we have the EX ult for Bell, we have Ryu's ult, that's cool and everything. We can ult swap it away with Shuna, because she swaps 1 wind ult here. So let's do that. And then, okay, or we could bring Ice in for Shuna. Okay, well, that's fine. We're actually just going to send the Ryu ult, because there's no harm in it. It's acting like a green orb. We know it's not going to do that much damage when we actually get to the nuke turn. Like, it's not what we're going to kill with. So there's no harm in just losing it. And it also means that we have 1 less ult to worry about to try and swap away with Shuna. We really only want to try and swap out Ice ults, because we're trying to hold on to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 182 points are coming back. That number will get higher and higher as the fight goes on, because so far we've had 2 stacks. We had extra 100% skill point gain, but there's 150, there's a barrier damage, and then there's a little bit of a heal. So leaving Ryu up front is imperative for the first couple of turns. If you're using Elmesia, I really don't know how necessary Ryu is. Like, do you bring Geld or do you bring Ryu if you have the option? Like, I'm not really sure. Obviously Ryu is the AoE character, so maybe in Jubilee that would be super useful, but not really here. So let's do another Bell stack. Now it costs 100 points. Everything is quite expensive now, and it's only turn 4. Stacking team with no reset is a green stacking team, sorry, with no reset is a bit interesting of a choice. And that's why I think that Hestia is a very good protector, not for the Danmachi team. She's going to be really, really good for generic teams that need a lot of skill points, that are looking for like turn 2 strats or something that people have been doing with Masayuki. You could do it probably with Hestia as well. But as far as using her on this team, like, as you can see, we're just not getting the same amount of damage output that we would get by using Elmesia, even though we're missing all of that element damage and the 100 skill points and the extra damage we get from just Hestia being the protection character. Like, we're missing out on all that, but on the trade-off, we're getting billions of damage. So, is it really a competition? Not really. But this is turn 5. The bind is going to wear off now, and this is probably the last turn that we have Ryu up front, because I'm confident that we have enough skill points that I don't need to leave her up front. Now we need to start prioritizing the ice alt and getting her ready to go on turn 6 and 7 so we can nuke on turn 8. So the alt rush will definitely help, and then the alt swap, the green buff, boom, Hestia again, and then we could use a stack of Ice's skill, because it's still, even on this team, more important. Or we use Belle's gimmick. That's something too. Either way, we're nuking with Ice. We're sending greens. At least our orb changing is a lot easier with this team, because we just use Hestia. She's passively converting every turn, and she's actively converting when we need her. But so far, we haven't really needed that. After we got to turn 3, like, we've never really had to convert with Shuna at all. It's just to alt swap somebody, like right here. So Belle stack, the green buff, the alt swap. We now have the EX alt for Ice. That's good. Hestia again, 100 skill points, and we will use the Belle stack? No, the Ice stack. There we go. Don't be dumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will break the barrier, and then we are ready to nuke on turn 8. We have 2 90-point skills to use, Ryu and Ice, and then we've got a 100-point Belle skill to use the Pierce Rate, and then anything else. If we have another 100 points, we'll put it towards the Ice ability and her stacks, because again, that's the most important thing. So Belle stack, boom. He doesn't have an alt anymore, so let's get him out of here for Ryu. And then we'll use the Ryu and the Ice ability, a stack of Ice, and then we still have another 100 points coming from Hestia, so we can get another stack of the Ice ability. And then we can send all 3 alts, so 1, 2, or we don't, one of the 2. So Shuna, she's an AoE character, she's heavily nerfed. Ryu does 14 million, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 14 million damage. Heavy nerf, not an EX alt. Yeah, oh well. And then Ice cleans up with 706 million damage. Not 1.8 billion, but still more than enough to kill Dire 2. So right now, these are the 2 teams that I have for you today that I have personally used. Let me pull up one other thing that I saw from a Japanese player that might be an option if you are so fortunate. Okay, so shout out to Sino_Nye, JP player. He posted this team which has cleared all of Nether difficulty from Inferno 1 to Dire 2 using this team, which requires 3 different collabs worth of characters. We have the Overlord Rimuru and Shizu. Overlord Rimuru resetting by 1 level, stacking element damage, and giving greens those extra skill points that we're so desperately wanting on the other teams. And then we've got free-to-play Soka for the orb change, the magic, and pierce down, which we're not actually piercing on this team, so it's pretty much just the magic buff. We've got a Harmonizer Water Rimuru to heal us and to deny the Orc's alt. Said that backwards. Because he does a lot of damage, and he keeps stacking alt resistance down on us, which means the alts do more and more damage as time goes on. Kind of important to keep yourself alive. We've got free-to-play Traya, another free-to-play character. This is a full mission team, mostly. We got 2 free-to-play characters. They're all magic units. But Traya is the goddess of green orb changing. She converts her own. She converts 1 green and or 1 blue and 1 orange. We've got We've got Idol Master Mirai, who has the Future Hand of Green skill and the Live mode, which for every green orb that you send, you get 2% attack forever. And on a green-focused team like this, where you have guaranteed greens, you're going to be getting a lot of attack, slowly but surely. And then we've got Overlord Shizu, single target win character, alt swapper as well, and then her big time buff is weakness strike and alt resistance down. So I'm assuming, because none of these have the full 3-star clear, he did not do these in like 10 turns or less. So if you happen to have all 3 of these collabs, Idolmaster, Overlord, and obviously free-to-play Soka, you can attempt this team. I have not personally tried it. I don't know how painful it is. I have told you that going past turn 8 makes things a whole butt-ton harder. So I don't know how much fun this player had trying to run this team, but obviously it has worked for him in some way, shape, or form. So if you're able to run this and you can't run one of the other teams that's the billion team or the full meta, maybe give this a shot. And I'm going to keep working on my other team that is going to take a lot of time, but I wanted to get this video out now. So there we have 2.5 teams that can clear up to Dire 2, and if it can clear Dire 2, it can clear Inferno 1, so it can clear all the others. If you have a different team than what I have shown or what this JP player has, please, for the love of God, put it in the comments, and I will try that out as well. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.